You know what's strange? Some people spend their entire lives being admired for one thing: being strong. Everyone trusts them. Everyone depends on them. Everyone says they can handle anything. But almost nobody ever stops to ask whether they're actually okay. Somehow, the stronger you appear, the less people check on you. And that's one of the strangest psychological patterns you'll ever notice. Because being called the strong one sounds like a compliment. But over time, it can quietly become an identity that feels impossible to escape. Think back to childhood for a moment. Almost every person who became the strong one can remember a moment when they realized their feelings didn't matter as much as everyone else's. Maybe they fell down and were told, "You're okay." Maybe they cried after losing someone, and someone quickly changed the subject. Maybe they watched their parents struggle and decided they shouldn't make things harder. Nobody sat them down and explained this. Life taught them, little by little, moment by moment. Without realizing it, they started believing something dangerous. If I stay calm, people need me. If I cry, I become the problem. That belief doesn't appear overnight. It grows quietly, like roots beneath the ground, invisible, until one day it becomes part of who you are. And here's something fascinating. Your brain loves patterns. Whenever a behavior receives approval, your brain remembers it. Every time you stayed calm during chaos, someone noticed. "You're so mature. You handle everything so well. I don't know how you stay so strong." Those words feel comforting. They sound encouraging. But hidden inside every compliment is another message. Keep being this person. Your brain hears that message far louder than you realize. Because the human brain is built to repeat behaviors that protect relationships. If staying strong earns acceptance, then staying strong becomes emotionally safe, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts. That's why many people who carry everyone else's problems don't even realize they're carrying them. It simply feels normal. Have you ever noticed something else? The people everyone relies on rarely ask for help themselves, not because they don't need it, because asking feels unfamiliar. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack every single day. At first, it feels exhausting. After enough years, you stop noticing the weight. The backpack hasn't become lighter. You've simply forgotten what it feels like without it. That's exactly how emotional responsibility works. Some people become so used to solving everyone's problems, they forget they're allowed to have problems too. Psychologists often talk about emotional roles inside families. Without anyone planning it, children naturally take on different roles. One becomes the funny one. One becomes the quiet one. One becomes the responsible one. And once those roles settle, they often follow us into adulthood. The responsible child becomes the dependable adult. The dependable adult becomes the reliable partner. The reliable partner becomes the person everyone calls during emergencies. Eventually, being needed becomes part of their identity. And identities are incredibly difficult to change, because changing them feels dangerous. Think about it. If you've spent 20 years believing your value comes from holding everything together, what happens the first time you admit you're struggling? Your brain immediately asks a frightening question. What if people stop depending on me? What if they see me differently? What if I'm disappointing everyone? Notice something. None of those fears are about physical danger. They're social. And to your brain, social rejection has always felt incredibly important. Thousands of years ago, being separated from your group could mean not surviving. Your modern brain still carries pieces of that ancient wiring. That's why disappointing people can sometimes feel far more painful than physical exhaustion. It isn't weakness. It's survival programming. Your brain is trying to protect your place inside the group, even if the threat no longer exists. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Being emotionally strong isn't actually the problem. In fact, it's an incredible skill. When something goes wrong, these people stay calm. When everyone else panics, they think clearly. When families fall apart, they become the steady voice everyone leans on. That ability deserves respect. It's real. It helps people. It changes lives. The mistake isn't becoming strong. The mistake is believing strength only works one way. Because eventually, every person carrying everyone else reaches the same invisible moment. They become exhausted. Not physically, emotionally. And the strange part is, almost nobody notices. Real resilience means allowing yourself to feel difficult emotions, without letting those emotions control your choices. In other words, strength isn't the absence of emotion. It's learning how to carry emotion without hiding from it. That's a completely different skill, and perhaps it's the one many strong people were never taught. So if you've spent your entire life being called the reliable one, the calm one, the mature one, the person who always holds everything together, remember this: those qualities are beautiful. They've helped people. They've protected people. They've probably changed lives in ways you'll never fully know. But your value has never depended on carrying everything alone. You don't become less strong by asking for support. You don't become less dependable by admitting you're tired. And you don't lose people's respect by telling the truth about how you feel. In fact, the people who truly love you have probably been waiting years to hear it. Because strength was never meant to be a prison. It was meant to be a foundation that's strong enough to let someone else stand beside you. So maybe the real psychology of the strong one isn't about becoming tougher. Maybe it's finally realizing that being understood is just as important as being admired. And perhaps the strongest thing you'll ever say isn't, "I've got this." It's something much quieter. "I don't have to carry it alone anymore."